This Next Gen GST reform actually benefits Bengal literally on specific items. I've already spoken about the two-wheelers, small cars, three-wheelers, bicycles, and so on. The family budget, for instance, on a 1 lakh worth bike, saving is estimated to be 10,000 rupees now. 1 lakh costing bike, you will be paying 10,000 less. For a 6 to 8 lakh small car, saving is 60,000 to 80,000 rupees. If there is an auto for 3 lakhs, saving is 30,000 rupees. So that is the extent to which literally you're going to pay less for each of these items. Similar for auto parts, instead of 28%, you will be paying 18%. Personal care, household, all that list is there, which is being distributed. But I'll go to the next section, which is important, and I think very important for me to say this here. There are 11 specific signature of Bengal items, which I'd like to highlight. Even this is getting distributed. Shantiliketan leather goods. Regions which will benefit from this are Birbhum district, Shantiniketan, Bolpur, and adjacent villages like Surul and Ballavpur. What is it? The rate comes down on the item being produced there on the leather goods from 12 to 5%. I don't need to give the details. Leather items from Bengal will be lesser. Bankura, Panchmura, terracotta crafts will now be only 5%. From 12, even that has come down to 5%. And this will actually help the Kumbhakar, the pottery makers, and that will benefit them. Many artisan families live in extreme poverty. For them, an average monthly household income as low as 7,320 will now have a benefit of this tax reaching them because they can sell their products faster and reach greater markets. Madur Khati mats. I think that is being produced by Mahishya craftsmen. Mahishya is a caste, I think. They produce it. So Madur Khati mats, which are produced in Purba Medinipur, Paschim Medinipur districts, Sabang in Paschim Medinipur, Balurghat, okay. So their products are now going to be taxed only at 5% and not 12% with this new renewed GST. Purulia Chow masks. The masks which are made in Purulia district will also now benefit because their rate is coming down from 12 to 5%. I think this is a very important traditional dance form for which the masks are being made. The next item is wooden masks of Kushmandi. Dakshin Dinajpur district, centered Kushmandi block, produces Mahish Batan. That benefits, so his constituency is going to be benefited 12 to 5%. The next is Shola Peat Craft, which is done in Bardhaman, Murshidabad, Birbhum, Nadia, Hooghly, Malda, and South 24 Parganas. Even they come down from 12 to 5%. So these are very, very important products which are made for the Hastakala Shilpa Mela and also for Puja, which is very important for decoration. Nakshi Kantha, which is all over rural Bengal, but largely from Birbhum, Murshidabad and Nadia. Handmade, hand embroidery items like shawls are also going to be at 5 from 12%. Further, processed mango products from Malda. These are GI tagged items. They are exported. They have a huge revenues earned out of it. Malda town alone exports mangoes. The last data that I have is 2023, which says over 80 crores worth fresh mangoes were exported. Now they will stand to benefit because Malda is famous for 200 varieties of mangoes. And I think 3 or 4 of them, Fasli, Lakshman Bog and Himsagar, have GI tag as well. So we've reduced for them. Darjeeling tea, again 18 to 5%. Basic tea remains at 5%. So that is going to also help. The reduction will help them. Jute bags and shopping bags, again coming down to 5 from 12. Largely Kolkata, Howrah, Hooghly, North 24 Parganas district. Again, the rural activity will now be better supported. Hosiery and ready-made garments coming from Kolkata, actually Metia Bazar, Baruipur, and areas around Siliguri. All of them will benefit from this. There was a cap of 1,000 rupees earlier. Now it has been increased to 2,500. Up to 2,500, buying an item will now cost less, and therefore this is a very important thing. So West Bengal, I've just done a quick study of how Bengal will benefit out of the specific reduction. The need for us to review was, first of all, we didn't want 4 rates. But were we ready to get into 1 rate situation as yet? Not yet. Maybe sometime in future. So we brought together the entire set of commodities and understood it from 5 different parameters. 1, is it going to help the poor, the middle class? By bringing the item down in terms of taxable rate, are we benefiting the poor and the middle class? If yes, yes, we'll do it. The next was, is it meeting the middle class's aspiration? Middle class pays the tax, but feels that if today they were to move from a small TV at home to a larger TV, they are paying lots more tax. Or they want to move from a small car or a scooter to a even better family car, even that was higher on the tax according to the perception, and maybe so, because of categories of taxes. And therefore the second parameter was, will it help the middle class to meet their aspirations? If it will, yes, we will reduce that. The third was, will it help farmers? Most often, when we were looking during the 8 years into matters related to farming community, it would be that that item on which the rate consideration had to happen, it used to come under the dual use category. Farmers use it, but others also use it. So for the sake of the farmer, if you were to bring down, the way in which people can exploit this would be they will put it all under the lower tax and saying farmers are buying it, whereas farmers may end up buying out of every 10, only 3 or 4, and the rest might be going for other uses. So we didn't want to treat dual use items, even if it's going to benefit the farmer somewhat. We didn't touch those. But now, when we're looking at it afresh, was there a way in which we can consider items which were useful for the farming community to be brought down? So that was my third filter. The fourth filter was, if it is going to help the MSMEs, one, for their raw material or intermediary products which they need for their production, we should consider them and make them cheaper so that MSMEs don't have to have the burden of input costs going very high. And where necessary also to give the relief through input tax credit, although the larger exercise was also to see this inversion be corrected. So input tax credit comes only when the inversion exists. We wanted to remove it, and to a large extent we've removed. But in exceptional cases like for the farmers, or for not so much for the farmers, but for those items produced for the purpose of farmers, and in the case of MSMEs, we were ready to put up with some kind of an inversion and giving refund or making people use their input tax credit. And the last category, the fifth one which we used while reviewing, was for the sake of the larger economy, particularly at a time when PM is talking about Vikasit Bharat by 2047. Strictly speaking, we have only 22 years more to reach that destination. We have to be rapid about doing a lot of things. And so the sectors where we need to have rapid growth, investments, and consumption be given incentive, we kept them as the fifth parameter, and therefore the review looked at these 5 things, and wherever the answer was yes, it will benefit, we have brought the items down. This new generation GST is not just for reducing the rate and the burden on the citizen, but also clearing up the confusion which businesses face, making it easy for compliance. And I'll jump 2 or 3 steps much before I get into the slide presentation. When I say ease of doing business, compliance becoming simpler, not just in terms of the form, the complication of the form, but also you go for a registration of a new entity which wants to be part of the GST. Earlier it was unpredictable how long it will take because they had to do n number of checking, on-site inspection, and some other time also checking up on validity of the papers and so on. So there was no guarantee that you would get it within a certain predictable number of days. But now what we've said is within 3 days the registration will be done and made complete. So process reform is also a very big thing in this new generation GST reforms that we've brought in. I will be amiss if I don't give credit to the states for having come together and agreed and approved on this proposal to reduce the rates. So to that extent, I'm grateful to everybody. I said this to the media as well. Immediately the next day, I wanted to send a letter, but it couldn't happen the next day, but it happened the day after. I wrote personalized letter to every one of the finance ministers who were sitting in the council, irrespective of party or affiliations of any sort, and thanked them for having played a very constructive role, because Indian people need this reduction now. I'm happy to say the determination of September 22nd was largely influenced by the Pujo. Because it is Puja. When does Bengal's Pujo begin? It is after the Shraddha period, which is the Pitru Paksh. So, if Prime Minister Modi indicated Deepavali, and if GST has gone through a major revamp, the Shubha Mangal Divas is first day of Navaratri, the next day of Mahalaya. So don't you see the very strong influence of Bengal in this decision making? Absolutely for you all. So I would think the message from Bengal is what is going to influence the rest of the country, like it did during independence struggle, like Bengal has always been leading the country.